we have a representative of the parking district, and he's going to discuss both issues. Actually, there's two major issues. One is should the town petition the members of the state legislature to amend the law and eliminate the property ownership requirement for the Hartsdale parking commissioners. I personally find the parking ownership requirement very offensive. You know, it reminds me of pre-Civil War days when you had to be, where in some states you had to be property owner to vote, and that was eventually eliminated. And I don't think there's any other government body that I'm aware of, like anywhere in the United States, that has a property ownership requirement to serve on a government body. The other issue is I think the public should hear the financial health of the parking district. And we have a representative of the parking district.
Yes, good evening, Supervisor Feiner, members of the board. Happy New Year, everyone. My name is Seth Mandelbaum. I'm a partner with the law firm of McCullough, Goldberger, and Stout in White Plains. And I'm here this evening on behalf of my clients, the Hartsdale Public Parking District Board of Commissioners. I'll address the first issue on your agenda, the request for report of finances. We did submit a letter which I will read into the record for the benefit of the public, from the commissioners dated January 12th, 2021. Honorable Supervisor Feiner, members of the board, the Hartsdale Public Parking District, HPPD, was enacted as a special district through the New York State Legislature in 1950 and established by the town in 1952 to purchase land and provide municipal parking within the town of Greenburgh. Due to the unprecedented and ongoing world health crisis caused by COVID-19 in New York, the state has mandated lockdowns and executive orders relative to the pandemic since March of 2020. HPPD has had the opportunity to tailor our operations and reach out to our commuters, parking customers, and local merchants to support them during this health emergency. While the district has experienced reductions in revenue and operating income as a result of reduced commuter and merchant shopper usage of our parking facilities during the past year, we continue to operate our parking facilities in a fiscally sound manner and have sufficient reserves and income to run our facilities, make necessary repairs, and meet our financial obligations. To ensure our continued support of Greenburgh commuters, town residents, merchants, and shoppers, the HPPD has implemented several actions to maintain our facilities and help the community through this difficult period as follows. 1, suspension of parking meter fees was implemented for a period of 2 months from March through early May 2020 to support those residents working from home and in need of additional parking convenience. In addition, this suspension also encouraged shoppers to patronize our local businesses that did remain operational. Second, distribution of additional permits for Site A, 24-hour, Site A overnight, and Site C 24-hour parking for Greenburgh residents living nearby. Third, implementation of daily commuter parking to support commuters and all town of Greenburgh residents who may begin a gradual return to work in the coming months. Specifically, the HPPD has created a new pay per day arrangement in Site F and along the pipeline, in addition to the daily parking permitted in lots A, B, and D. The daily parking rate remains at $10 per day and can be accessed using the same Passport parking app as utilized at street metered spaces. And 4, provision of HPPD support to our merchants, including but not limited to our local restaurants, by working with the town of Greenburgh to suspend parking meters for a 3-month period to enable expanded sidewalk dining in Hartsdale for the placement of special barriers. In addition, to ensure that our facilities are properly maintained during the pandemic, the HPPD has implemented the following: training of staff to enable in-house special maintenance activities normally conducted by outside contractors. As a result, our facilities continue to be maintained to our usual high standards, and also utilizing internal staff for expanded snow removal duties as required. The commissioners and staff have continued the daily operation of the HPPD during the past 10 months of the pandemic. This has expanded the usual operations of the HPPD which is more fully set forth in the prior letter to the town board dated March 10th, 2020, a copy of which we've attached once again to this letter. We respectfully request that this letter and the previous letter submitted to the board on March 10th be part of the record for any action taken by the board relative to the HPPD. The HPPD board is diverse and comprised of 3 members in accordance with statute. We employ civil service staff in our administrative office, maintenance, and on the enforcement team for daily operations. Our financials are readily available, posted on our website, and they are completed in accordance with US GAAP requirements. An audit of the 2020 financials is ongoing and will be submitted to the town and posted on our website upon completion sometime in early spring 2021. As stated heretofore, the 3 commissioners, in conjunction with the district staff, have ably handled operations of the district in a fiscally sound manner, even during the COVID-19 crisis. We respectfully refer the board to the prior lawsuit by the town in 2010 in Feiner v. Groden et al., wherein the court determined that statutes can distinguish between landowners and non-landowners in limited use districts like the parking district and dismissed the case. We further stated in the March 10, 2020 letter that while HPPD is not a taxing district and revenue is generated by users of the facilities, there are fiscal considerations and accountability to the town's taxpayers that should be considered when deciding whether to abolish the property ownership requirement. As stating in our prior correspondence, irresponsible or poor financial decisions by the HPP board could directly and adversely affect property owners financially within the town. In conclusion, the commissioners of the HPPD do not agree that the board should be comprised of non-landowner members for the reasons above and is confirmed by the HPPD's enacting legislation and the court in Feiner v. Groden et al. Further, the HPPD board does not believe that the town board needs to expand the number of members, nor does the HPPD board consent to any proposed expansion. This is respectfully signed by the full Hartsdale Public Parking District Board of Commissioners, Barbara Groden, Chairperson, Myrna Anover, Treasurer, William Sakari, Treasury, copied to Town Attorney Tim Lewis, Honorable Andrea Stewart Cousins, and Honorable Thomas Avenanti. And that has been submitted by email as part of the record this evening. I also submitted a letter from my office, which I'm not going to read into the record, which attached a letter that I previously submitted on March 10th, 2020, which goes into further detail on the legal basis for the board's opposition to the removal of the property ownership requirement, and stresses that it really has nothing to do with any discrimination or disenfranchisement of any particular group. It is purely about the fact that the bonds are the responsibility of Town of Greenburgh property owners within the district, as I believe Councilman Sheehan pointed out at your December 8th work session when you discussed the issue. Thank you very much for your time this evening. I appreciate it.
I just had one question. Do you know of any other government body anywhere in the United States that has a property ownership requirement to be a commissioner or an elected official or anything?
I do not, but that's completely irrelevant and is not the basis cited by the court in dismissing your case from 2010, where they found there was no violation of the state constitution's equal protection clause to have only property owners on the Board of Commissioners.
Right, but the issue is, I know there's a statute, and that's why town does not have the power to unilaterally change a statute. It would require a state legislation. But I just find, especially when we're looking at the Black Lives Matter, the protests and the feeling that from some people of being disenfranchised, I can't see why in 2021, the Civil War happened, many years ago, many decades ago, over 100 years ago. I can't understand why we're depriving local businesses of the opportunity of being commissioner, while we're depriving tenants who live on East Hartsdale Avenue the opportunity of being a commissioner, while we're depriving you know, so many people the ability of getting involved and having a voice in an important government, body. That doesn't mean that the town board would appoint a tenant or appoint a business leader, but it would give us the ability, if the board chooses, to appoint different people. There could be commuters. In 2010, the board appointed Barry Kessler. He wasn't able to serve because he was not the property owner. His wife was a property owner. And I think that's again, the courts could rule that it's legal, but but I think it's highly offensive to me.
Okay, and our position is set forth in the written correspondence we submitted.
Anybody else like to speak on this matter? From the public? Nope. Okay. Then we can move on. The agenda, or does the town board, anybody want to say anything? Okay, so we'll move on to the next.